We have Paso Robles, Monterey County, and Napa Valley. Now, this is our location here in Paso Robles. Have you guys been to our location in Paso Robles?
No.
Not here? No. This is a large facility as well. It's all solar power, self-sustained. We recycle our own water. Now, it also has a restaurant, and we have event rooms that you can rent. Here you see our aging room, our fermentation room. But also, too, the one thing that's interesting is that when they're running full capacity, which is the end of July through the middle of October, when they're out bringing the grapes and crushing them and producing the juice and making wine, when they're at capacity, we'll truck them in semi-trucks here. If you look right over here, look how many stainless steel tanks we have. Pretty big tanks, right?
Yeah.
A lot of wine. Now I'm going to show you exactly how much more wine we make. We're going to move our tour right over this way. If you guys have any questions, just feel free to interject questions. If you guys want to take pictures, go ahead. You guys kind of free reign during the tour. We're going to start our tour. Actually, this is our second spot in our tour. If you look at these tanks right behind you, look at these tanks right here. This is what we used to age our wine in. This is redwood over here. The one thing that's unique about this is not only these tanks, but if you look over here to your right, that wood right there, those tanks right here, you look at the details of that wood right there, those were imported from Italy. Now there's 4,500 wineries, up to about 5,000 wineries in California. You're not going to see tanks like these anywhere else in California. If you guys want to take a closer look and look at the detail of the craftsmanship, come on in. See how tricky it is?
Oh, yeah.
Come on in. Hey, Sherry. I haven't seen you all day. Busy.
I had my first communion here.
What's that?
I had my first communion here.
You did? Wow, that's awesome. Well, that was probably a couple of years ago, huh? Like maybe, 5, 6 years ago? How old are you?
11.
Oh, yeah. She had her first communion. That's awesome. Yeah, so you look at the details. The winery is 107 years old. Like I said earlier, it's kind of like using it. And when we have to do that, to me, because I'm also a wine producer, I see this as a work of art. As you can see, this detail of the wine. There's also the same picture I wanted to show you why I'm bringing you over here. We're going to jump right over here. There's another picture, similar to the one we just saw. Come on in. Now, you remember that picture right here?
Yeah.
Right? See that door, that square door? Look to your right. Look to my right.
That's the door?
That's it.
Oh, wow.
See that? The rooftop. See
Is
that?
that the wow, the original?
Not the rooftop?
This is the original location. That used to be the main entrance. Let's see, who started coming here? How long have you guys been coming here?
I don't know. A while ago.
Okay, so when I started coming here about 15, this used to be the main entrance.
2015.
2015? Okay. So when I started coming here like 2007, 2006, this was the main entrance. This is it right here. Pretty cool, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Now this is their home. And they were raised up in the second floor apartment.
Upstairs.
Yeah. Now the family live in Pasadena somewhere. But look at some of these pictures. I also wanted to show you these pictures. You see that we have some vineyards in Burbank, Ontario, San Gabriel Mountains. If you look at that, it kind of gives you an idea of how extensive the wine industry was in this area. Now, none of that exists anywhere now because it's been encroached. There's been a lot of development. A lot of it went to the Inland Empire, but then in the Inland Empire started things changing with agriculture. They got pushed out into the Central Valley and the Central Coast, like Santa Barbara, in that area, Los Olivos, and now also north to Napa Valley, and then Paso Robles, and also Temecula now too. Yeah, you guys have any questions? We're good? We're good. All right, we're going to go back. Let's go back. We're going to rewind. We're going to go all the way back to here.
They're old.
Have you been here before?
Yeah.
A number of years too.
Yeah, 30 years.
Yeah. You've seen the place change,
Yeah.
right?
Since it was just.
You were able to meet the gentleman like Stefano and.
Yeah, we see him all the time. He's always this time. He actually,
Yeah,
when
he
we come
knows
in,
her.
he was-
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's my dad.
No, sometimes when they come all the time.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
she knows him.
But yeah, now imagine back in the day, this place was full of these redwood tanks right here. Now we can't use redwood anymore because if you timber a redwood tree, we're gonna go. It's against the law. You're gonna go to jail. Okay, so when we had to switch different varietals of wine, which are different types of wine, we have to pop this lid and get the skin is guy, not me, in there to clean it. Okay, because it had to be sanitized. But imagine back in the day, this place used to be full of these redwood tanks. Now, what we did with some of the redwood tanks that we saved, we didn't want to throw it away, we repurposed it. We're gonna, and I'll show you where we repurposed it over here. It's kind of way back in the corner over here.
Wow.
Come on in.
There's a giraffe.
A giraffe. Yeah, it's got giraffe. Have you guys ever been back here before?
No.
No. Like I said, this place is deceivingly large. The family doesn't just own this block, but they own the surrounding blocks as well. We have warehouse space where we keep supplies and also where we age some of our wine. Okay, I'm going to take you to a place where we repurpose the wood, but I want to show you this space like right over here. These are some of the rooms that you can rent for certain celebrations, birthday parties. Yeah. We also have events like during the summer we'll put up an inflatable screen. People can come in, bring their chairs, and we can get a charcuterie and they can order the wine and watch a movie. During the summer we'll have yoga sessions for the ladies. They come in and they drop their mats. They do their stretching or their yoga poses. I tell them, I go, well, and then they go drink wine. I tell them they should reverse it, drink wine first and then do yoga. But we have four different large rooms. They're very sized rooms. This is one of them. Now, if you look back here, this place looks familiar, right?
Yeah.
It's the back of our restaurant. It's a 300-person restaurant, first come, first serve, cafeteria style. We call it trattoria style. It easily accommodates large groups. We also have our newest restaurant, which is called 1917, which is right outside. It's a patio style restaurant, or in Spanish, it's estilo campestre. That's a reservation-based restaurant. We also usually have live music. I'm pretty sure we have live music going on out there right now. Usually there's a couple. Jason plays saxophone.
He's
every
really
Sunday.
good. He's really good.
He's good, huh? Marco's our guitarist. He's there on Saturdays. So we have live music. Also on Marco will play Friday and Saturday the guitar, and Jason comes in and plays saxophone on Sundays. But we always have live music on the weekends. Oh, and just recently, like last week, we have a Fiesta Mariachi brunch. We have Mariachi de Oro. They're actually pretty good. The food is pretty good too, but the mariachi was pretty good as well.
All right.
We had salsa night about a month ago. We come and dance salsa. I tried to work that event, but they couldn't get me in. I can't dance either, but after a couple wines, they get pretty good. So, if you guys are interested in some of the events that we hold here, you can go online to San Antonio Winery, and you can look at some of our events as well. But I want to take you to this room over here, where we repurposed that redwood.
Oh.
Come on in. Come on in. Now, this room is very distinctive. Come on in. Now, can you guys figure out what that distinction is of this room? Yeah. Yeah. But you smell that?
Yeah.
That's from all that wine that was inlaid. There. That's it. That's what all stained from wine for all those years. It's lined at that wall. Right there. This is also one of our other rooms that you can rent. But it also has one of my favorite pictures, their wedding day picture. Here's the happy young couple right here. Right there on their wedding day. Very happy. And also too, Madalena, they went back to Ontario. And that's a picture of the vineyard where her family sold to us right there. That vineyard doesn't exist anymore, but we have a tasting room there. You guys familiar with it?
Yes.
Yeah. That tasting room, it's just a tasting room. I think we have a lunch truck where sometimes they'll do barbecues. But any kind of wine that we make, we're going to find it there as well. But that's a picture of her, just a little older when she went back to Ontario. Now, if you look over here to our left, this is one of our storage areas right here. It's a multi-story facility. This is where we age our wine. This is just not just one of them. We also have 3 others across the street. A lot of wine.
Yeah.
I see this place. I worked for the Walt Disney Company for 15 years, and Disney's known to create magic, you know. So I'm gonna take you over here where we create our wine magic. Come on over here. I'm gonna peel back the curtains over here. And we're gonna go into our production facility.
Oh,
Now it's gonna be
Smells
a
like
little
wood.
chilly in here. Now it's gonna be a little chilly in here, a little cold. We're gonna go all the way down the corner.
All the way down. All the way down. All the way down.
This is where all the magic happens. Now this is where I peel back the curtain. This is where the magic happens. This machine right here follows 100 bottles a minute. It's a really fast machine. It'll sanitize the bottle. It'll fill it up with wine. It'll put the label and put its cork. It does 100 bottles a minute. We make 2 million cases of wine a year. We make a lot of wine. We're one of the largest wine producers in the country, but we also import a lot of wine. A lot of the Stella Rosa is our brand. And like I told you guys that we make 31 different flavors of Stella Rosa. We just gave you 2 new flavors recently, the watermelon chili, which I think you guys had, right? Yeah, you guys had a bottle, right? And Claro, which is also good. The Claro is like a hints of honeysuckle, which is pretty good. It's like a blue bottle. But if you look over here on the right, when the winemaker is adding yeast to the juice, it starts to convert the sugar into alcohol and it starts to generate some heat. This is actually a large blanket. He heats the temperature, controls the temperature with the blanket. But you look at the size of these machines. I mean, these barrels are large, huh?
Yeah, very.
that's a blanket?
That's a blanket.
I want to touch it.
Run the production.
They run it right now because it's low season. They run it Monday through Thursday, 10 hours a day. High season again. Remember you guys remember when high season is for wine? End of July, middle of October. Running 6 days a week, 10 hours a day. Yeah, and we're trucking the juice from Paso Robles in semi trucks down
I
here.
know, right?
Yeah. And you know, so too, when we start aging wine, we have used 2 different types of barrels. We use French oak, which is like the one right behind me, or American. And say, Joel, what's the difference between the 2 different types of oak? One is just not price, but when the winemaker wants to make a wine that's like smooth and silky and a little fruity, they use French. You want to give it, when you drink wine, sometimes you feel it a lot in your mouth, a little tingling. Those are the tannins. Use American. That's pretty much it. Like in layman's terms, real simple terms. But also not only that, but because there's a difference in cost. An empty barrel, when we import an empty barrel French oak, it's $2,000, and this is $500. We get those from Kentucky. I've been making my own wine for about 12 years. The first 5 years were pretty bad. I started in 2013, and I had done a little of those story. And I went to Valle de Guadalupe for the first time in 2013. Down in Mexico, right outside of Ensenada, there were 80 wineries there. Now, 12 years later, there's almost 300. It's grown a lot. And 2013 was also the same year. The very first trip that I made down there, I met a gentleman. Long story short, we became good friends. He got tired of hearing my complaints. And in 2018, he said, "What? Come out here and I'll teach you." So I've been going down there ever since consistently. This is Phil and Eileen Gregory. They have the right-hand man, Juan Paredes, but he's also my mentor. And they've been kind of guiding me in my journey. I'm making decent wine now, but I did have an experience that I kind of went under like 2 years ago. It was really expensive, so I'm still learning the craft, but I'm really confident now that with my skill set that I have, I'm making pretty decent wine. And that's kind of how I got my foot in the door here with San Antonio. Not only because I knew the family for some time, but they're really good. These people here treat me really well, very generous. One thing that really stands out about San Antonio, now, like how many wineries, if you go to Temecula, you go anywhere in California, you need sample wine, they're going to charge you. Here, they'll give you free sample. Now, if there's a sample that you're interested in, if there's a wine that you're interested in, if we have that bottle open behind the counter, we'll give you a sample of it, and we won't charge you. That's something that's really unique that you're not going to find anywhere else. Okay, and then also too, talking about kind of like, because we are a California winery. You guys remember how many wineries are in California?
3,000?
5,000.
Oh, 5,000.
5,000 wineries.
close.
What state do you think it has the second most wineries in the United States? The second. Yes.
Oregon?
Close.
Washington.
Washington State. Yeah, Washington State produces, I think they have like 1,200 wineries, somewhere around there. So California produces 90% of the U.S.'s wine. Now, in talking about a little bit about California history about their wine, of course, Napa is what put California wine on the map. How that happened, and like a really quick story, there was a gentleman named Steve Spurrier, who's from Britain, but he had a wine shop in Paris, in France, in the early 1970s. He had heard that, hey, there's an agriculture site location in Northern California that was making wine. So he packed up his suitcase, came over to the U.S., hung out for like a month, and he's like, wow, there's some amazing wines here. So he filled up his suitcase with California wines, went back there, and because he was in the wine industry over there, he put together a blind taste contest. And he invited the top winemakers and critics of France, and then also he brought some of the California wine producers, their sombreros, their jeans, their torn up shirt with their cowboy boots, and they had an event. And what happened? The French wine critics and the French wine producers picked all California wines. And they were surprised. But not only were they surprised, they were mad. Because they can't believe that anybody can make better wine than France can. Yeah. And that's what put California on the map. That contest was called the Judgment in Paris. Now, something about Steve Spurrier, he recently passed just about 2 years ago. But that's what put Napa on the map. You know, Napa is the world-class destination now. And then also, in talking about wine in history itself, like in the Americas, now how did that happen? How do you guys think wine got to the Americas?
The Catholic Church.
That's right.
The monks and priests.
That's right. Yes. So, back in the day, the Prince Philip, the king, no, not Prince, King Philip from Spain, he sent out the Spanish to colonize the Americas, right? So King Philip was also a staunch Catholic as well. He was spreading Catholicism. He was a very powerful gentleman because not only was Spain really powerful, but also Portugal. It was between Spain and Portugal, kind of divided the world in half. Okay, and so he was so powerful. King Philip, he named the country after him. You guys know what country that is?
Philippines.
The Philippines.
Philippines.
Yeah. And Philippines is the largest Asian country that has the most Catholics for an Asian country. So they came over to colonize Mexico to spread Christianity. The Spanish were actually the first ones to create the first wine production facility in the Americas in Coahuila, the state of Coahuila, in Paras, which is in the central highlands of Mexico. That place is called Casa Madero and opened up in 1597. Now, just over 500 years later, that place is still producing wine. Casa Madero is still producing wine in the Mexican highlands. It kind of gives you an idea how wine started coming over here. But also, his son, when King Philip died, I'm trying to remember his son's name. I think his name is Charles II. He started getting complaints from the Spanish wine producers that Mexico was producing too much wine. So what did he do? He put a prohibition on Mexico. And it lasted about 200 years. That's what started Mexico's wine industry. And because of that, it's only been in the last 100 years that the wine industry down in Mexico is starting to grow. And more recently, like the last 30 years. Yeah. But also one thing about going back, and I'm going back to, I'm getting somewhere to what I talked about earlier about the saints. Now, when they were spreading Christianity, they were coming up to Northern California to create like all the missions and were making a lot of wine. There was a winery that opened up in 1888 in Ensenada. It was actually Santo Tomas, also named after a saint. Now, that's the only other winery you've seen our tanks, their big redwood tanks. That's the only other place where I've seen those tanks in Santo Tomas. And it's still there. You can still take tours. I don't know, you guys anybody been to Ensenada lately? No? No? Yeah, one thing, when we go someday, hopefully we can take a tour, and I'll show you guys that it's the only place that I've seen those redwood tanks in Santo Tomas. Pretty cool, right? So if you look over here, our sign over here, these are some of our most popular labels. Okay, we make 40 different types of wine, 31 different flavors of Stella Rosa. This is our top shelf, the Rivoli family wine. San Simeon, Madalena, Opaque, Windstream. Now Jada, if you look over here, Jada is actually new. We've only had that for about 2 years. Jada we used to be a winery. Actually, it's a winery in the western part of Paso Robles, which was also owned by an Italian family. They called 2 years ago and said, hey, we're gonna put up the winery for sale. Are you guys interested? Now the owner here, I spoke to him, he says it's very rare that wineries in the western part of Paso Robles go up for sale, and they snapped it right up. And now we carry this line here. The one thing that's unique about Jada, they produce only 5,000 cases a year. It's really expensive wine. Yeah, for me, it's expensive, between $70 to $100. Good stuff. The winery that I'm associated with, called Venacaba down in Ensenada, we also produce 5,000 cases a year. This machine right here, that does it in 3 hours. What takes us all year, this machine does it in 3 hours. So it kind of gives you the volume amount of wine that we make here. A lot of wine. Yeah. But yeah, that's a boutique winery. You know, San Antonio Cardinal. Are you familiar with San Cardinal? Semi-sweet wine. We've been making that for over 50 years. Of course, Stella Rosa, which we started making, we produced that starting back 30 years ago. Now we have 31 different flavors. La Quinta is also one of our labels. And La Quinta is a dessert wine. It's called a port wine. Does everybody know what a port wine is?
Yes.
Like it?
Yes.
It's a dessert wine. It's actually red wine fortified with brandy. Now, why is that? Because the Portuguese back in the day, they were one of the top wine producers in the world. They were one of the exporters of wine. Who was the biggest importer of wine back then? The British. But the wine used to spoil on the ship, so they started adding brandy to fortify it. Now, one thing that's really interesting about port wine is that you can go home, open up the cap, and have a little sip while you're watching Netflix. You can put the cap on, and you can leave it out there on the countertop. Nothing's going to happen because it's fortified with brandy. You don't need to put it. You don't need to put a stopper. You don't need to put it in the fridge unless you want to chill. But a regular dry bottle of wine, like a Cabernet or a Malbec, you usually have to drink that within about 2 to 3 days, or it's going to start to oxidize. So what happens when red wine oxidizes? Anybody have an idea? That's what happened to me just 2 or 3 years ago. I had a barrel like this, 60 gallons. I did an experiment that I had tasted a wine that was aged in an old, well, not say old, a used bourbon barrel. And I loved it. I wanted to copy that. So I bought a used bourbon barrel from Kentucky, took it down to Valle de Guadalupe. I filled it up with 2023's Harvest of Nebbiolo, which is a red wine that comes from Italian roots. It was okay for 3 months, but then I lost it like that. I didn't really completely lose it. I wound up giving it to Eileen, the owner of Venacaba. She turned it into balsamic vinegar. But I'm not in the vinegar business, but still a mistake. I still want to experiment with that. I haven't just gone back because I've been working here. I've been working here on Sundays. But I still have that experiment back in the back of my mind. So I'm still learning the craft. Anybody have any questions? No? So let me see. I'm gonna go around. So I know that you like to teach Shiraz, right? And that's why I picked out that bottle because I decided on her birthday. And she also mentioned that she liked it. I mean, what kind of wine do you like?
The watermelon.
The watermelon chili? I know that you like the non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
The blood orange. So?
Something.
Yeah?
I like the Sanchmion. And then La Quinta.
The La Quinta? Yeah, the La Quinta is good. Yeah. And you?
No particular.
No particular? I'll give you Stella Rosa.
I also like the Petite Sirah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, I know you like it. Dry wine.
Your cab, the Madalena.
The Madalena? Oh, I'm glad you brought that up because the Madalena, okay, that's one thing interesting about the Madalena cab that I find, okay. What I like to do is I like to take the Madalena cab and I like to put it in the fridge for like an hour. Then I take it out and let it sit for 15 minutes and to me, when it opens up like that, it tastes really good. Actually, what I used to buy in the past and just leave it out there and just on the countertop and drink it. I think if you put it in the fridge for an hour and take it out and let it warm up a little bit, it hits the spot. Janae, I know you've been to Valle a couple of times, so you like pretty much dry wines.
Yeah, I like the reds that are there. I
The
got
reds?
Venacaba.
Okay, one thing, going back to
blend.
Valle de Guadalupe, they're known for, just like California, bold red wines, high alcohol content.
Yeah.
All right, high meaning for red wine, anything about 13%, like 13 to 15% is high. Lolo, I know that you're on prohibition.
He's collecting the corks.
Yeah. He's a smart guy. You, sir?
I like the quinta.
La Quinta? Yeah, good choice. You know one thing about La Quinta, when the ladies were doing, they were putting it on top of vanilla ice cream.
Oh.
Yeah, La Quinta. And one thing La Quinta is at 18.5 alcohol. It's high.
Oh.
I bought my first bottle of la quinta
La
here
Quinta.
when I started dating her.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
I remember
and
that.
ever since, we like that one.
Oh, good, good.
That's
good
why you
memory.
married her. Huh?
Yeah, that's why.
That's a good answer. Right?
I'm a Pinot guy.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You know, Pinot Noir is one of the hardest wines to produce because it needs to be in a mild climate or cool climate. It won't grow very well. In fact, the people who are producing Pinot in Paso Robles have been uprooting their stock or taking their stock out and moving it down to Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
It's been getting too hot in Paso Robles. And then when it does produce the fruit, it's in little small bushels. That's why sometimes Pinot Noir tends to be a little bit more expensive. It's a little bit more labor intensive or there's more resources involved, a little bit more labor intensive to produce.
There's a winery that we visited last year for my birthday in Paso. It's called Adelaide, and they have
Oh, yeah, I
one
heard
of the best.
I've heard of it, yeah.
We
I think
bought
I've been there.
a few bottles
Yeah.
from them.
Yeah, I usually take shipments for Sanford, and Santa Barbara.
Yeah, Pinot
yeah,
Noir, yeah,
Santa
Pinot Noir. It's one of my favorites too. You know, some of the best Pinot Noir comes not just in Santa Barbara, but also in the Willamette Valley in Oregon.
Yeah, I'm not a Washington guy.
Yeah. This is in Oregon.
I'm
Yeah.
a Cali, yeah,
You know what,
or
you
an
know,
Oregon guy
I do,
either.
I do one day want to explore going to Walla Walla, which is on the border between Washington State and Oregon, but it's like really inland. You know, because there used to be like a set of volcanoes because of the soil composition. It's a prime wine grape growing region in Washington State.
Yeah, I'm a California guy.
There you go.
Stick to California.
Old.
Yeah.
And also going back to a little bit of history of wine itself, okay, and in thinking back, so to me, wine, when I drink wine, and here in California, per capita, each adult is about they drink about 3 liters of red wine a year. In Mexico, per capita, is 2 glasses of wine a year. Now, if you look at the number of wine, the amount of wine that's drank in France, Spain, Italy per capita, it's between 13 and 16 liters a year. My house is like in that range.
Yeah. That's like 52 a week. I mean, 2 a year, a bottle a week or
Yeah,
so.
no, that's my house, and we're going like at least 4 bottles a week.
Yeah,
That's
that's
actually fun.
it's quite a bit.
No, but I think, because it gives you an idea how much wine is being drank,
Yeah.
between the countries. But also, France is also known that they have less cases of cardiovascular disease than we do. And I think it contributes back to dry red wine, a lot of antioxidants in it. Anybody have any questions?
No, maybe start drinking wine.
It's gonna.
I think that with a little bit of red wine a night, like just like 2 to 4 ounces, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, with dinner.
And also in pairing wine. You guys understand what pairing, putting together with food. Like sometimes during the summer, I'll buy a case of Pinot Grigio, which is a white wine. It's the cousin to Sauvignon Blanc. And I come home from work during the summer. I don't want to eat anything heavy. I'll put together the tostada de ceviche, the pescado, the camarón, and I'll chase it with Pinot Grigio. It pairs amazing. Or like a Cabernet, a Malbec, a wine, like a red wine. You can chase it down with some flan, some cheesecake, some cheese, a ribeye. I mean, it just pairs pretty well. Or a charcuterie with pieces of cheese, some grapes, and maybe some salami for scuto. It all pairs very well. You good?
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Yeah, if you guys want to take pictures, if you have any questions, feel free. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Where'd you play today?
Huh?
Where'd you play today?
That's a winning nose.
Okay. Yeah. They like 36, right? 36 holes?
Yeah, 30 ways, yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's been almost 2 years since I last played.
Oh, yeah.
It's just down to 62. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I like the tour so far.
I want to stay in the.
Yeah, it's nice and cool, huh?
Can we take a shower?
Yeah, before we get about the temperature, so you know, especially like red wine. Red wine does not like heat. It does not like if you have a bottle of red wine, you shouldn't put it up. I see when I go to my friend's house and I see they have one of my bottles. They have it on top of the fridge, and it's like, oh god, heat rises. It'll start to oxidize the wine really quicker, and it doesn't like light. That's why when you go to a winery, it's in the cellar because it doesn't like light. It likes to be in a dark place. So if you have wine, you don't put it in the fridge. Put it like in the cupboard, or put it underneath the bed, or inside the closet. And shut the door. White wine doesn't matter about the light, but white wine should be chilled. So put it in the fridge. Wait, do you on this way? Now here's an older picture of Papa Steve. Gentlemen, right here. Stefano Rivoli is the 15-year-old right here. Older picture. He had to see. I would see him, and I would come in on a Friday. My routine would I would work in Burbank. I live in Orange County. I would stop by here on Fridays, buy a bottle of wine, drink one glass, be responsible. You know. And he would sometimes hang out with me. He's a really generous man. And he'd always bring like cheese plate stuff. They're very, very generous here. Yeah. But really a great guy. Unfortunately, he passed away 6 years ago. Oh, how's it going?
What are the tin things for?
That's the same thing to age the wine in.
Oh.
Hey, Roy, do you remember a wine? It was called Prima Donna.
Hey,
Over here. Prima Donna. Here?
Yeah, long time ago. Like maybe early 90s.
Really?
Yeah. It was different,
The
yeah.
first time I started eating here was 2007 when I started working at Burbank. But I would come in consistently every year. I'll ask somebody. Way back in 1910. Probably from a little village up north by the long kind of the mountains. And they settled here in Lincoln Heights. You and my brother, you all play.
Really? Oh, you gotta go play then.
is it honey?
And what is your name?
Sammy.
Sam? That's pretty much our tour.
That was really good. I liked
Like
it.
it?